The advancement of technology prompted the possibility of almost everything, from individual devices that offers different set of features to cater people with particular needs, to devices that has a jack-of-all-trades character, which can basically do everything under the sun. One product category that falls under this principle are the hybrids. This is the fusion of two different products in one, a rare breed that is aimed for people who wants the best of both contradicting worlds, or for someone who just cannot decide which one to pick. With that having said, the device we have here today is all sorts of 2-in-1, the O Plus Duo. Not only that this thing is a bridge between being a tablet and a laptop, but it also supports two operating systems. So, is this Android Windows hybrid worth checking out? Let's figure that out in our full review. Considering that the device is an economical product, there's really nothing too fancy about the O Plus Duo's build. Everything is encapsulated with this plain, all black, and boring body that is made from plastic. It does feel cheap, but it doesn't look like it will break easily. And besides, out of the money you'll be spending on this thing goes to what is inside. The device also feels compact, thanks to its 8-inch profile. It is not pocketable for sure, but it is easy and convenient to carry around, and slide it inside a purse or a bag. There's some noticeable heft to it, but not too heavy, which makes it still comfortable for one-hand usage. At the front we have the 8-inch HD IPS display, an LED notification indicator, and the Windows button, which also works as a home button when on Android. At the top we have the lock and power switch and the volume controls. These buttons are, of course, also made with plastic. But despite being made with second-rate material, they are surprisingly tactile and very easy to press, thanks to its well-protruded profile, with a design touch that made the three buttons look like merged as one, with its well-trimmed corners. The bottom has the microSD card slot, and the two magnets, together with the actual contact for the included keyboard. At the left side we got a 3.5mm headphone jack, a micro HDMI, and a micro USB port. The micro HDMI port was really serviceable during my tests, although some might need to purchase a micro HDMI to standard size HDMI cable, since probably most of the cables you have lying around are all have the standard HDMI sizes. There's one bummer that I have encountered while testing this device, and that is the lack of ports for input. Like I have said, there's only one micro USB port, which is being used to recharge the device and also connect other accessories, peripherals, and even external storage devices. Thus, you have to unplug your peripherals when you have to recharge the device, or anything the case may be. A proprietary charging port could have gone a long way, but it may compromise the Android side of things. At the back we have the 2-megapixel primary camera and a loudspeaker. The speaker's performance have been pretty decent. It has a conservative volume, which is loud enough to be usable inside a quiet room, but not loud enough to distort audio. Now let us proceed to the device's accompanied keyboard dock. The accessory is also made from the same plastic, which, together with its thin profile, made it very lightweight. The keyboard's thinness were also the benefit of the absence of any ports, built-in battery, or just any features besides having keys. There's only magnets and contact for transmitting both keyboard signals and power, which will be coming from the tablet itself. The keyboard also has 4 pillars on each 4 sides to make the accessory as somewhat a protective case when the device is not in use, replicating the implementation used in actual laptops. Taking a look at the keys itself, we got a chiclet-style keyboard here. The keys are decently spaced between each other, which made the keyboard compact, with fast travel distance when typing, without sacrificing the ease of use. But the level of ergonomics is actually subjective to the user. But from my experience as a user with big hands, I was able to comfortably type on this thing. But because of the materials used, the keys are a bit mushy. Also, the lip at the bottom of the keyboard makes the buttons at the spacebar area a bit irritating to press, as the joint in my thumb is obstructed. But what I really liked about this is that you can easily snap the tablet to the keyboard thanks to magnets. The magnets are strong enough to hold the 8-inch device with great stability. It also sits perfectly on my lap or onto any surface thanks to its stiff build. The Opus Duo sports an 8-inch HD display with 1280 by 800 resolution and has 189 pixels per inch. Technically, the display we have here is a WXGA and not an HD display, which has a 1280 by 720 resolution. But everyone is referring to it as 720p since WXGA is close to HD. Plus, high definition is almost the standard title in almost all media categories. Also, the 1280 by 800 resolution resulted to an aspect ratio of 16 by 10, with the more standard 16 by 9 designated to actual 720 displays. A 16 by 10 aspect ratio is a great balance and a bridge between having a 4 by 3, an aspect ratio we usually see on iPads that are perfect for productivity and reading, and a 16 by 9, which are seen in almost all smartphones that are made specifically with media consumption in mind. A 16 by 10 is wide enough for watching videos and gaming, but still makes productivity junkies comfortable. For a perspective, you can see tiny block bars when watching a standard 16 by 9 YouTube videos. Quality-wise, the display projects deep blacks, average saturation. However, the contrast is a little lame. Also, the glass that is covering the display is a bit reflective. If you are wondering what the Duo stands for on the device's title, here is the answer. This budget-friendly tablet runs on both Android and Windows, but this is not your usual, underrated two-faced device. The device runs on Android 5.1.1 Lollipop and Windows 10 out of the box. This thing is far known from the earlier dual boot device that we had, the Cherry Mobile Maya Smart Tab, which was under Android 4.4.4 KitKat and Windows 8 out of the box. With that having said, having two operating systems is actually a good way to go. Both Android and Windows have their own proprietary applications and features. Windows has a more for professionals ecosystem, while Android is relatively an entertainment-centric. These are the main reasons why I think this device is pointed towards the students or anyone who just wants a work and life balance. Windows 10 has all the tools needed to handle work. We have the cliche yet timeless Microsoft Office and other productivity tools that are only compatible with a full desktop operating system. On the other hand, Android offers all of your laid-back and pastime needs. It is no secret that the Google Play Store is more populated with apps than the Microsoft Store. For a perspective, mainstream social media apps like Instagram and Snapchat are only available on Android and the iOS devices. Now let us look at these two one by one. First, Android Lollipop. Despite being not the latest, it is still one of the best from Google. Lollipop have been around for almost 2 years now, so there's nothing really much to talk about. The interface is fluid, good looking, and obliging. If there's one thing that really bugged me about this is the lack of landscape support to a lot of apps, which is frustrating when the tablet is docked on the keyboard. Also, boot up time is awfully slow on Android on this device, rated at almost 1 minute and 30 seconds. On the other hand, Windows 10 still feels very industrious, which is unbelievable to see on this tiny and economical device. Paired with a larger monitor, you can get a more desktop-like experience on this thing. There's also a free version of Microsoft Office that comes with it, which I think is a feature that is very essential to its prospective users. However, a lot of the advanced features can only be unlocked after you purchase the full version. But nevertheless, the basic features can already be useful enough. Switching between operating systems is easy. On Android, you just have to tap the OS switcher that is found on the drop-down menu, while there's a software found on the desktop of Windows, which is called Dual OS Switcher, that sends you back to Android. The Opus Duo also has a spacious 64GB of internal storage which is split into two for the operating systems. Thus, we have 15.62GB available for Android, and the remaining 37.5 gigs is allocated to Windows. Having a bigger slice of the pie is only appropriate for Windows, since all of its applications, and even the operating system itself, is heavy on data. The O Plus Duo has an Intel Z3735F processor, which has an average clock speed of 1.5 GHz, partnered with Intel HD graphics and 2GB of RAM. Processing performance on Android have been pure butter. Browsing through the home screen, social media feeds, and almost anywhere on this device is flawless, while gaming is on a so-so situation. Titles like SimCity and Asphalt 8 ran fluidly, although there were some noticeable frame drops when I tried a game called Injustice, which I believe is a more graphics demanding game. It was still playable though, but not as smooth like the others. The same goes when on Windows. Everything feels smooth initially, although things were a bit bogged down when I tried to push it a little too hard. I opened and interacted with 5 to 7 tabs on Microsoft Edge browser simultaneously, and the device just struggles a little. If there's one thing that was left out here, it is the camera department. It is not that surprising considering that almost all of tablets have garbage camera sensors. And besides, other than using it for video calls, you don't want to use tablets when taking pictures. It looks awkward. We got a 2MP primary camera and a VGA front-facing one. The shooter at the back can surely service you if you are really left with no choice to shoot. Despite the lighting conditions, color reproduction is okay, but the contrast and saturation are lame. The front camera also has a terrible output. This thing is made to do what is only needed, and that is for video calls. There's no way you can take decent to good selfies on this one, not unless you're desperate and left without any options. Colors are hideous with almost downhill saturation and contrast. Plus, there are also noise and grains everywhere. But despite the horrendous quality, everything is still bright enough, so details are still perceivable, so you can confidently do Skype calls, even in low light scenarios. The device is powered by a large 4200 mAh battery, a capacity that is pretty standard to almost a lot of tablets today. With that said, battery performance have been impressive, but not groundbreaking. During my tests, the device lasted for about 4 hours and 15 minutes, a screen on-time test that consisted of web browsing, streaming videos online, and gaming, all done by switching back and forth between Android and Windows. Let me start this conclusion by saying this. The O Plus Duo is certainly a bang for the buck product. Well, of course it has its flaws, as this device is not perfect. But boy, the value that you're getting on this thing is too good to be true. With its $6,995 price tag, you are getting an 8-inch tablet with an included keyboard dock, an option to use a bigger display via its micro HDMI port, decent battery longevity, and of course, having the ability to juggle between the latest version of both worlds, Android Lollipop and Windows 10. If I would be nitpicking, I just wish that the processor was a little more powerful. The camera, especially the front-facing one, can produce better photo quality. And lastly, that boot up time on Android shouldn't have that long. The cons are just very minor, so it is impossible for it to be a building block to whoever is considering of getting this device. But at the end of the day, it would now really depend on your needs. If an actual desktop replacement is what you're looking for, a full-fledged and a more powerful Windows laptop is what you need. Or if you're just all about laid-back and casual media consumption, then a cheaper Android tablet can already give service. But if you're a student or a professional who wants a compact, budget-friendly, and all-in-one device that can handle all your work or school and entertainment needs, then the O Plus Duo is the one for you. This has been NoypiGeeks' full review of the O Plus Duo. For a more detailed look about this device, check out the full written review link below. You can also hit the thumbs up button and share this video if you liked it. And also subscribe if you still haven't. Thank you for watching.